So, welcome, good evening to this program called BHAG. Okay, and it is called Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. Before I tell you a little bit about this program, last month, in the month of March, we did a program called Dare to Dream. And that was the first step in understanding, or rather, I would say it was a precursor to BHAG. Because if you genuinely want to have a big, hairy, audacious goal, you need to really dare to dream as well. Okay. So, how does this session help you? Two things. One, it makes you really believe in something even you haven't imagined yet. So it sort of breaks all beliefs and barriers which you carry in you. So, one request I have is in today's session, I would want you to come with a very open mind, not a challenging one, but an open mind in terms of understanding and give yourself some space. Don't be harsh with you. Give some space to yourself. Invite yourself to be open and see what is this all about and can I do it? All right. But before we do that, let me quickly introduce my organization. It's called Radical Edge Learning Consultants. We started in 2016. And the whole idea is that I am being in the space of learning and development for more than 16 years. My passion and purpose is to touch people's lives. So when we started off, we wanted to do only one thing, but then I realized that a lot of people wanted us to different things. So we do a lot of stuff, like for example, we do skill capability programs, we do emotional intelligence assessments and certifications, we do mindfulness based programs called calming space. That's also complimentary. We do it every Saturday by popular demand, and more people wanted to come for that session, so that's happening every Saturday 12 to 1 p.m. India time. Please join in to feel calm, refocus and rejuvenate yourself. We also do women centric programs, coaching as well as offsites. So these are the basic stuff. Many of you know me, so I'm not going to introduce myself. I'm the founder of both my Geminu and Radical Edge. But I also have a fantastic human being with me who's going to be our co-host and co-facilitator. Her name is Abhiramika Ravi Varman. I know I can tell the standard introduction about herself, but I would really invite her to introduce herself with the passion that she carries. And thank you, Abhi, for very generously being part of this series that we are offering people to learn as our giveaway to them.
Thank you, Anita, for inviting me over for the session itself, because the concept of passion and concept of the goal as and visioning and all of it is very, very close to my heart, and I run a lot of workshops on those. So I'm excited to be here with you and the whole participants. And a quick introduction is I am a coach. I'm an ICF certified coach, like with in similar lines of what Vanitha does, and I'm also facilitated, and that's how I got to know her. So for me, my personal interest lies in mindfulness again, and EQ, and a lot of transformation related programs and workshops. So we do for two segments. Like I work with the corporates. I also work with a lot of children. I coach few of the teen kids, and I see tremendous improvement in the way that hand holding helps them. So it's like there is some purpose that I think I have found for myself. So I'm happy to be here with everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abhi, for saying that and being here. So, guys, without any delay, what is this BHAG? So, before I go ahead, I just want to ask anybody in the room is aware of this concept? Have you read? Have you heard before? You can unmute and say, have you a little more details about this?
First time hearing this. I haven't heard it before.
Ah, okay. Fantastic. Thanks, Gunjan, for saying that. Okay, super. So let me tell you a little bit about this. The pronunciation of this word is BHAG. So it's not bhag, like in Hindi word, it's like run, but you can run for your goals. But I think the right pronunciation is BHAG. So what is this all about? Jim Collins, the person who, in fact, I have this brilliant book called Good to Great. He's the author of this book called Built to Last. And he very beautifully says, in that book, actually, when he started interviewing a lot of companies, and he got to know that the most visionary companies had big, hairy, audacious goals, okay, which they describe as something like this. So I'm just going to walk you through. A BHAG engages people. It reaches out and grabs them in the gut. Look at that, okay? It grabs them in the gut. That means it totally keeps you choked to get your goal out. It is tangible, energizing, and highly focused. So people get it right way. It takes little or no explanation. That means the moment you say your BHAG statement, people get it. They're not going to ask you more questions about it because it's so clear to them. So let's see what are some of the things. And that's why for your BHAGs, you don't have to need any explanation. Before we go ahead, I would request you all to have a paper pen, always handy, because if there's something that is popping up, you can make a note of it. And we're very happy if you want anything from us at the end of the session, you can leave a message and we will share with you. And Vidyut, I know I'm yet to share the Calming Space music with you. It's in my diary. I'm going to do that as well for you. All right, so let's see some of the BHAGs the visionary companies globally have done. Look at this, Google. Look at the statements, okay? And I want you to focus a little bit on the statement and read it maybe 1-2 times and make a note if you want to as well. What word in this statement you think makes this a BHAG?
Universally.
Universal, yes.
Organizing.
Sorry, organize. Okay, interesting.
World's information.
Absolutely. Vidyut, you got the right word, right? Imagine the world. Can you imagine the information of the world? And today, we cannot survive without Google Mata. Correct? That's what we all call, because we all need Google for everything now. There's nothing that we can do without Google, including all the information. In fact, Google has become a mini doctor for the COVID. Everybody goes and asks questions to Google. So imagine when they wrote this years back, they said when internet was just coming up, and that's the BHAG they had. Organize the world's information, make it universally accessible and useful. Look at this one. What do you think of this? What thoughts are coming? Gunjan, Sumit, Lovely, Lavkesh? Any one of you?
Of the information being shared.
So does it sound audacious? It says every book ever printed in any language. Look at the words. Every book ever printed in any language, all available in less than 60 seconds. That's like a minute. Okay. So when I say big, hairy, audacious goals, it's like unbelievable. Imagine if Amazon had to say this like 20 years back to someone, they would have laughed and said, what crap are you talking? It's impossible. It cannot happen. You should be really out of your mind. I can understand some books in all languages, but every book ever printed, wow, now that's an audacious statement. Now, there's a little story about Boeing. Boeing, if you notice, this heavy bomber that they created, the tagline that they used, a big audacious goal that they had was dominant player in the commercial aircraft and bring the world to the jet age. So what happened was, let me tell you this actual story in the board meeting, which happened in the Boeing company. When the board meeting was happening, they said that let's now go to, let's make the jumbo jet 747. Okay. And so I think that time the Boeing director or the chairman was William Allen, I think. Yeah, I think it's William Allen. And everyone was worried about this 747 jumbo jet, and they thought this is really going to kill the company. So in one of the decision making meeting in the board, at the board, someone said, what if the program, what we are planning out is going to, back out? And the moment he heard that word back out, should we back out? Alan became very stiff and he said, the Boeing company, will build the aeroplane. And even if it takes the entire resources of my company, my entire company, we will make this. And you know the history, right? The Jumbo Jet 747 changed the history of the aviation. Okay, so Boeing was pioneer. Read about it if you have time. The story is like freely available again in Google. So we should give it to them. They have literally every story captured possible. And this is a very interesting story of the way Alan replied to that statement of, are you sure that this is what is going to happen? Yeah. Super. So that is one audacious goal that you can see that I was telling you of Boeing 747. Look at the words again: dominant player in commercial aircraft and bring the world into the jet age. What about this? I know there are some football lovers here in the room. What do you think of this? Deepak, would you like to share this? What are your thoughts?
I don't know if it is big and hairy and audacious.
Wow, what makes you say that?
It's just to reach the English Premier League, right? It's not to win the English Premier League or to, it's not like that. So
you know about the club, Blackpool club? Okay, very fair point Deepak brought out. He said this doesn't look like an audacious goal to reach the English Premier League. I think a little bit of history about the Blackpool Football Club, because if you sort of know them and how the kind of the club that is being, I think for them reaching the English Premier League was one of the, I think it was impossible for them to even dream. So maybe that's one of the reasons. So I'm not a very football oriented person, but I think this is one of the reasons that, they had this audacious goal out there. And thank you so much for bringing that out. All right, let's look at this. One of my favorites. What does this tell you? Any thoughts about this?
It says the best company in the world.
And is it they wanted to be the best, or they, you look at this statement that they have made, not industry standards.
So maybe they are saying their personal standard that they think that they have.
Exactly. So when you think of Disney, what comes to your mind?
Cartoons.
So does that give you happiness, joy? Does it make you forget all the worries and just, enjoy the moment? Even today, Tom and Jerry brings a smile onto us.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the Disney characters like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, if you notice all these characters, they have their own aura, their own personality. And if you look at the Disneyland, they didn't want it to be like any other company or a resort or a amusement park. They wanted it to be a Disney brand. And that's why they say, build Disneyland and build it to our image, the way we want it, like castles and bridges and all the imaginary stuff, where people feel different world on this planet. And that's why they say to be the best company in the world for all fields of family entertainment. So it's not only one way, if it's for children, it's for everyone. Fantastic. Thank you, Gunjan. This is a beautiful one by Ford. Look at the words they have used. What does this tell you? Thanks, Vidyut. I just read it. Yes, absolutely right. You got the right word there again. All fields of family entertainment. What do you understand by democratize the automobile?
Make it available to all.
Absolutely. So cars, thanks Sita, shouldn't be only for a certain class. In fact, Ford, they broke this myth of ultra luxury or ultra high net worth individuals, and they said, democratize the automobile. That means anyone can have an automobile for themselves. So the kind of cars that they made and released was for a common man. And that's one of the reasons even today when you go to US, you'll find quite a lot. Of course, we have different cars right now. But at one point of time, if you notice, they really had this audacious dream that every US citizen should have a Ford car. Yeah. Fantastic. So I think you're getting a good hang of what I'm trying to bring out of big, hairy, audacious goals. And this one, if you notice, and each one are different, and I'll tell you why each one is very different. Look at what Sony said. Change the worldwide image of Japanese products as poor quality, create a pocketable transistor radio. Anyone had one pocket size transistor radio ever with you?
Of course, Anita.
You did?
Yes, of course.
Lovely. Okay. Thanks, Vishwanath. That's a nice experience you had, I'm sure.
Yeah,
And even Deepak says, yes, he had. And remember the Sony products, they changed the worldwide image. So today, Sony is considered to be one of the best brands when it comes to audio visuals and other stuff. So they've carved a niche for themselves. So that was a big, hairy, audacious goals way back then. And the last one. Oh, even Vidyut had one. Thanks, Vidyut. So Twitter to become the pulse of the planet. So pulse is the life, right? So they want to become the life of the planet. And today you know that. And that is what Twitter is doing with all celebrities or non-celebrities. And most of us are out on Twitter, literally tweeting all the time. So what does this really mean? By all these examples, and the last one is crush Adidas. That's what Nike said. Okay, and we will understand this. Imagine this big, hairy, audacious goal, just 2 words. Crush Adidas. I don't even have to say what it means, but you know it, right? They are very, very upfront, very competitive. So big, hairy, audacious goals are action-oriented. If you notice all the examples I gave you, all these clearly tell you that I want to be doing something. It's absolutely clear who, what, where, and by when. It has to be like compelling and gripping that, you know, people like crush Adidas. People get it. They don't even want to ask you, oh, what do you mean by that? What did you say this way? No, they get it. And most important, it is bold, bordering on hubris and the unattainable. If you imagine now, you feel like, really, can I do it? And if that question comes, you're in the good space. You're doing the right way to do the BHAG. And I'll tell you how to do that as well. We will create one right now in this class today. So how does the BHAG actually work? So I've taken this from Jim Collins' book directly. There are 4 qualities that your BHAG should be having. First one is aligned. They say that properly set goals can be transformational if they are tied closely to what is important to the organization or you. So if you are owning an organization, or if you're working for an organization and you want to align the strategy, you can. Otherwise, on your own, for your personal life, ask yourself, what is it that you're really looking at? And also remember that any BHAG should be 10 years and more. You're taught for 10 years and more. It's like 10 to 25 is a good time for having a BHAGs. All right. So one is, it should be perfectly aligned with what you have. So that's why Dare to Dream was an important session we had last month. Next is audacious. I mean, it should be audacious to your own ears. When you keep saying that, you say, really? So BHAGs are breed apart. You probably onto something if the first reaction to a BHAG is impossible. So if you tell your BHAG to someone, they'll say, oh, come on, you're just kidding me. This is impossible. And then BHAGs can't be achieved easily and quickly. They demand really very different thinking. So that's why it's audacious. Next one is articulate. A good BHAG has a clear target. And that's why the past president of the US, when in his 1961-62 speech said that I want to land man on the moon by this decade, by end of this decade, and they did it. So in 1961-62, when John F. Kennedy said this, it was impossible. Only Russia was trying with Sputnik to go there. But otherwise, nobody could imagine a man going into the moon. But yeah, and again, I would request you to go through Kennedy's speech. It is available on YouTube, or you can read his speech, where he said that every nation, my entire nation, I want you to stand together to ensure we put the man on the moon by the end of this decade, which is 1970. Right? So, and arduous, that means easy goals don't need innovation, but a good BHAG does. It keeps you awake. It keeps your mind thinking that, all right, I have this audacious goal, but how do I get this? What should I be doing differently? That's why I said different thinking. So we will talk, in fact, next month about critical thinking. That's going to be our next topic for next month. So please sign in and continue to come to this series. So you will learn each one as we walk you through. So the whole idea is, yes, it's impossible to think right now, but we can make it happen. And when you have these four components, trust me, it looks very much possible. It can happen. So what does your BHAG should look like? First of all, it should have element of 70% should feel like it's achievable, but 30% you're still having your own doubt, which is good. Has to be a clear and compelling one. It expands your current capabilities and it's measurable. So you know by when and how much. And it must be connected to your company strategy or your own dream. And it should be long-term, which I already told you, 10 years and more. Less than that actually does not qualify, but still you can try. There are people who have BHAGs for 6-7 years, but honestly speaking, BHAGs really work beautifully when you have it for long-term. So there are 4 types of BHAGs. The first one is target-oriented, where you clearly set the target and tell that I want to achieve so much so by so. So Walmart in 1990 said, I want to become a $125 billion company by the year 2000, and they achieved it. You know the story of Walmart. So that's absolutely target. Look at the numbers, $125 billion by 2000. So it's target oriented with qualitative and quantitative goal. Next one is competitive. Like you had the Nike who said crush Adidas. You had Honda in 1970 saying we will destroy Yamaha. So this is competitiveness. You can even have a BHAG which is competitive. Next one is role model. Like, for example, the Gyro Sport Design said, become the Nike of the cycling industry. Look at the way they are using another company, become the Nike of the cycling industry. So they mimic another successful company or another successful person. So in your personal life, if you have someone whom you follow, and you can have your BHAG written saying that I would like to be so in my pursuit of life. You can do that. So it's role modeling. And the last one is internal transformation. This is a Rockwell company. Rockwell is an insurance company. And they wanted to focus internally. So they said, transform this company from a defense contractor into the best diversified high technology company in the world. So that is why they diversified into many things. So they internally started developing. So you can choose any of these to create your BHAG. So I'm going to request all of you to take your paper pen. And this is my own personal BHAG I'm sharing with you today. I want to touch 1 million children's life across the globe, helping them manage their emotions using gratitude and being present in the moment by 2035. So can you see that audacious number I have for my own self? 1 million children across the globe. That's literally all countries. Okay. It looks impossible now, but as I keep telling this, I know it is very much possible. So please, may I request all of you to take a paper pen and please do it along with me. That's how you can write your own BHAG quickly before I hand it over to Abhi, who's going to walk you through the other 2-3 things which can help you enhance further. So please, can I have your hands up or thumbs up or any reaction button, or you can unmute and say you have your paper pen ready, please. Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So please, may I request you to draw 3 circles like this. Can you please draw 3 circles like that? Okay. And the first circle is all about purpose or passion. Can you make a note? What are you passionate about, or what is that one purpose in your life you have? Okay, passion or purpose. What are you passionate about? Whatever comes, just write it down. We can create the BHAGs later. If you have done, please let me know. So that's the first thing. And if you're not sure yet, because purpose by itself is a different story altogether, but the easiest is your passion. You know, either music or business or travel. You should have some passion, right? Something that just emerges. So explore that and maybe write that down. And this is all about brand. What do I mean by brand? Okay, what are you best at? What are you really very good at? What is your strength? So this could be your strength as well. Okay. What are your key strengths right now that you have? What are your key strengths that you're having about you? That you know that even in your dreams, even in your sleep, any moment, you're really very good at it. Write that down, please. Okay. Hi, Jignesh. Welcome. We are just creating a BHAG for ourselves, which is called Big Hairy Audacious Goals. And it has 3 elements. One is the purpose or the passion. What are you passionate about? The second is, what are your key strengths? Okay, what are you really very good at? You know, what are your strengths? It could be analytical skills. It could be observing skills. It could be public speaking, or it could be connecting to people. It can be anything. All right. And then last one, any guesses? Anyone would like to take guess? What do you think is the last one that would make the hedgehog for you? Any idea? Okay. The last one is the customer. Who do you want to sell this to? Your passion and your strength. Who do you want to sell it to? So the question you need to ask is, who do you want to sell and who's it going to benefit? Your passion and your strength. Who's it going to benefit? So if you see now my audacious goal, my passion is to work with children, to work with the future. My strength is my ability to connect with them non-judgmentally and be like a child with them. So that's one of the biggest strengths. Children just get glued and magnetically to me. And what I'm doing is, since I know my purpose, I know my strength, I'm utilizing both of them to create a brand called Geminue. So Geminue is a company, and now you understand my big, hairy, audacious goals of touching 1 million children's lives, because that's my purpose and that's my strength as well. So the easiest way that you can do a BHAG is having these 3 components in place. And the center thing that you see, right, this part, this is actually what we call as the BHAG, this part, this portion. Okay, that means this is the hedgehog, just like the hedgehog. So this part becomes your bug or BHAG. Okay. Big, hairy, audacious goals. So try to spend some time with this. I'm going to give you all 2 minutes time now to just pen these 3 down and see if it's coming as a statement for you. And post this, I'm going to request 1 or 2 of you to quickly share on chat box or you can unmute and talk passionately about your BHAG, and we can help you if you want some help in, getting the statement right for yourself. you're most welcome to do that, right? So have these three things in mind. And if you have any questions, please do share as well. So this is what I said about my BHAG. I'm leaving it here so that it can sort of give you an idea to write for yourself. We will also share with you a sheet, like how exactly I walked you through now. We'll send you the sheet by Saturday. So it's a good weekend activity that you can dream and make your BHAG. So anyone would like to share any BHAG of yours? Let me wear my glasses because I can see something in the chat box. Oh, you're most welcome. Thank you so much, Lavkesh. All right. Anyone else who would like to share your BHAG? And don't worry about it. What I can do is I can pause the recording so that nobody else hears yours, and I can be respectful. So we have stopped the recording. So please go ahead and share. And once you're completed, I'll again start the recording for the others to know what we're going to take it forward. Okay, a good question coming, passion or purpose besides the daily job we do. So Abhi, would you like to answer this while I just give a little heads up? I know I'm just pulling you into this, but if you want to talk. So for the person who asked this question and others, there are two elements to this. Purpose is an entirely different ballgame altogether. Whereas passion is something that you would know because you know what is it that you can really give up your energy, time, and effort. That is your passion. That's easy to figure out, like music, dance, traveling, reading books, cooking, connecting with people, attending net. So there are tons of things which people are passionate about. They really can give up their time, effort, energy, money for that passion. Whereas purpose is like a North Star. So we need to spend, in fact, that's a beautiful topic by itself. Thank you for bringing that. Maybe one of the months, in the coming months, we will talk about the purpose and how you can create a purpose statement as well. Thank you for that. Abhi, would you like to add something, please?
Yeah, Vanita. So, I mean, great question, because a lot of people, in fact, whom I've coached, I've come across the same thing, right? That what is, I'm doing a certain thing, I'm working somewhere, or I'm doing something, but then is that my purpose, or is that what my passion should be? Should I make it my passion? So all of these questions come in a lot of people's mind. So one simple thing which I found for myself, and it has worked well, is if you don't get tired by doing something, right? Even in your sleep, if someone can wake you up and ask you to do a certain activity and you would happily do it without frowning or getting irritated, for me, that's the passion. And then, like she said, the North Star is the purpose. So if you blend in your passion to do something into something that can be beneficial for a lot more people, then that becomes your passion. So it's a beautiful blend between these two. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Abhi. That is true.
Yeah.
Your passion becomes your purpose, right? And it is more beneficial for the larger community and to the planet. Thanks, Abhi.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sita. And I think, there's a clarity as well. All right, anyone who'd like to share your BHAGs, guys, come on. We can do that.
Vanita, I will start just by giving a thing to everybody, right? So when I saw your 1 million thing, I was very happy, because when I started off on my coaching, I was not doing facilitation and training at that point. So I became a coach first, and then I got into creating transformational programs. And that came out of my statement, which was a BHAG for me at that point. So it said transforming million lives, right? Then that when I had put that up, for me, what came up was, how do I sit and coach 1 million people? For me, it will take a lifetime, right? So would I really be able to do that? Then it started off into various other areas of, creating workshops which help, where a lot of people can be part of it. Then we're touching children's life on one side. We're also touching corporate.
So true.
Yeah. So the whole BHAG gave me a direction to move in a way that, this particular goal is seeming achievable at all, right? Otherwise, it becomes like, okay, usually we settle down for something lesser purely because this is not something that I can achieve at this time, or my resources are in there, or right now I'm not equipped to do it. How will I coach one-to-one so many people? So let me keep it as 1,000 people something. So where we drop down is when we don't have a BHAG, and the moment we have one, we start looking at other areas or other ways of getting that BHAG done. So
True.
yeah, so that was something that I just.
And I think that is exactly, what you're in fact reiterating what we just said about different thinking, something that looks absolutely not attainable and achievable today. Yeah, but when you look back and then, like all the visionary companies, and that's why they are visionary. So today we are calling you and inviting you. And that's why when I started the session, I requested you, don't be a harsh critic about yourself right now. I want you to be just go light and dream big and write audacious goals. So looks like nobody wants to share, Abhi. So I am going ahead, guys. If you still want to share, you want to take it one-on-one, we are happy to do that after the session. So I'm just going to start the recording. So we spoke about how you can create your BHAG. We'll also share the worksheet with you. And you can always write into us one-on-one in case you want more help in your BHAG statement. So now I hand it over to Abhi, because I walked you through what could be some of the examples of BHAGs and also how you can create them. But whatever said and done, we are all, good thinkers this way. I'm sure after the class gets over, we might forget it all. We might say, didn't sync with me. This is way too much. I don't think I can. So let's see what actually can come in our way in becoming or writing our BHAGs. So Abhi, all over to you.
Thank you. So I'm sure you're thinking about your BHAGs at this point in time, right? With whatever has happened. With whatever you've heard so far and whatever you shared. So I'm going to take you to one step differently. Now, if you have a goal or something that you've been dreaming of to do for yourself, which say let's just take a year or two from here, right? I want you to think of that and put down one or two feelings that you get about that particular goal. Or if you have your BHAG with you right now, great, think about it with that perspective. But if you have any other goal which you're also thinking of wanting to achieve, I want you to write down at least two negative feelings that you carry about it. Something that says, oh, this, if this, so that if anything like that is happening, I want you to think about it and write that down. And once you're done, give me a thumbs up, or if you want to share, we'll be happy to hear one or two of you. Just pick up any goal. It could be a fitness goal. It could be just anything. Done? Still doing or still thinking? Okay, I see one thumbs up.
I have a question here.
Yes.
Most of us are raised to be really, practical, reasonable. We kind of try to always set plans which are achievable, which seem to be something which you can, it's a logical plan. And the biggest challenge with a BHAG is to really dream much beyond what you might have actually thought is possible. And there's this moment where your heart might say that, okay, I want to do that. And there's your brain which says that, okay, are you really being practical and reasonable? It's better to tone it down and bring it to a level which seems more reasonable. How do you strike a balance between that heart and head?
Okay, yeah, beautiful question, Sita. Thank you for that. See, this is what happens, and this is something that we, you know, uh, kind of takes us back, right? Even if we want to do, and this exactly happened with me as well. When I thought of this number to think of transforming people, the first thing came up as okay, a million, and then over the period of time when I was thinking about it, then what kept coming was, is it really possible for you to do? There are so many things that came up, and finally, the actual number could have been 1,000 or 2,000 a year or something like that, which itself is quite challenging. But what kept me at that number is, the moment you think of that big goal, then you start doing things differently, because what comes logically is something which will be in your comfort space, right? It will be something that you can achieve with more little more efforts, and this is comfortable for me. The goal itself becomes comfortable. So that is what shakes and makes the difference between a BHAG and a goal that you set for yourself, using these logic. Now let me ask you one thing: how many of you here use an Apple product, an Apple laptop or anything?
Not me.
Not you. Okay, so
I do. I use an Apple laptop.
you do? Okay, great. So when initially, when Apple laptop was launched, obviously it didn't have a CD drive, right? And those days when laptops were costing in lakhs, even I remember my first laptop costed me 1.5 lakhs. It was a Dell laptop, and I'm talking about just out of my college. So it 18 years back. So that time, this laptop costed me so much, and it was as heavy as a brick. So it was so difficult for me to carry this around, but still, that was what was available, the best in the market at that time. So the point is, when somebody had to think of a laptop which is thin and small and actually not had a CD drive, thinking about it, saying in 20 years down the lane, CD drive will become redundant, is something which comes from a different space or a different kind of thinking, right? It doesn't come from, okay, today what is in the market, or, what is the research that I can do to do something. So it comes from a very intuitive space, according to me, right? So that is the strength that a BHAG will be able to give to you. If you connect to yourself and really look at what can really make me feel extremely satisfied about what I have done towards, with my life, then you will come across something which will very intuitively come across to you. And that will become your BHAG in my mind, right? I don't know, Sita, if that answered, and if you still have any thoughts open in that, I'm happy to, share more. But did that kind of answer your question?
To some extent, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times um, the resources it brings us a few steps that I can so much, or this is my situation, this is what it is. But it will change the moment this BHAG comes into place. Your environment or your things that you will do also will change to a great extent. Okay, anyone else, any other thing? Have you been able to think of this 2 or 3 negative feelings about any goal that you have right now? Okay, there is lots of interest in tiring. Gunjan, do you want to say a little more about what you've put on the chat?
I don't particularly have a BHAG goal or anything, but whenever I start doing something as simple as trying to exercise or meditate, usually there's the tiring thing that, oh no, now I had planned to exercise, and then now I have to do that, and then the simple thing, the simple thought of that makes me tired for no reason when I've not actually started doing exercise. And also the lack of interest, because it's not something I have any passion in. But then for health reasons, like if I need to start to do exercise, it's just like I start and then I stop, and then again after a few months I again restart, and then I stop in midway. So it's just tiring.
Right. So
And
thank
very,
you.
yeah.
Thanks for saying that. Saying that. Yeah. So a lot of interest, and it's tiring because there is something new you're trying to create for yourself, right? A new pattern or a new habit or something which is not your usual routine. So, from a neuroscience perspective, what comes to my mind is something that we've done, we are comfortable with, which we know automatically happens because it's a pattern that we've created for ourselves. It's like, you just get up and go and brush, even if this is something that you will never forget because you've been doing it for a long time. It's a very automatic process. But the moment you need to break that automatic thing, you need to put something a lot more into, conscious effort into getting it done. So that's why we find it very difficult when we want to do something and not being able to associate it also with something. So I'll give you an example of one of my coaching conversations with a person. So it was the same health goal. Okay. She's, I think, about 48 or something. So slowly, she started getting her knee pain and leg pain and all of it. And she says she's a trainer. So what's this thing about trainers are, they walk around, they stand for the whole day, they do sessions where they talk, you need a lot of energy, right? And on one side, she had a health goal where she had to work on her exercise regularly, go for her walks, go to, her change of food and so many things, right? But in a conversation, she was able to associate this health to being able to do her job more efficiently, From then on till today, she has never stopped exercising even a single day. But before that, she was able to, she started and then she stopped, and then she starts and then she stops, just like how you said, right? So the association of what is making me want this, or why should I even want, have this goal? Is it my goal at all? Right? Or because everybody is, is fitness conscious, should I do it? Or is there something personally which is coming from inside you, which is wanting you to do that? I think if you spend some time thinking about that aspect, you might find the answer to what is making the interest or how is it making it tiring. Did that help you, Gunjan?
I think it will, because I've never really thought like, because we were going we were in lockdown, and then everybody was like, now because since we are at home and then we're not moving around, you should do some exercise. And I was like, yeah, that sounds something to look forward to. And then I did, but then I was like, oh, it's very difficult.
Exactly. So because it's not something which, imagine when we normally very active in terms of going to work or going outside, meeting people. This is a normal routine, which itself has been challenged and made us sit at home, right? Which is not a voluntary thing that all of us want to do. Over that, we want to create a new habit of flipping it, right? And then it becomes a lot more conscious effort. So that's
so true. May I, Abhi, just to add one point? So,
Sure.
Gunjan, that's absolutely right. That's why I wrote for you on the chat box. Purpose is an incredible alarm clock. It just keeps you awake all the time. So I have never been to a gym before, never do any physical activities by nature, like I take care of my diet and meditation, but physically no. But now in the last few months, being at home, I realized that my knees were aching sometime, and then I said, there's no more excuse, because when I am 60, when I'm going to turn 60, I really want to do a mountaineering climb. So if I want to be fit then, I better start exercising from now. Believe it or not, like you can ask my husband who I mean, I used to always give excuses for not exercising. For the last 1 month, I've consciously doing it every day. Even when my trainer doesn't come online, I actually watch the video on YouTube and start exercising. But every day, half hour, that's the purpose. So firstly, find out what is the reason that you want to do this exercise. What is your purpose? Put it on a paper. In fact, writing it on a pen and paper is so powerful, it's unbelievable. So don't think, write it. Put it on a sticky note or something right in front of you. And that will always make you think on what you need to do. And this is small goals that we can do. We are talking even much more big. So ask yourself, Gunjan, in the next 20 years, physically, okay, what is it that you really want to achieve? Do you want to climb Mount Everest? You're closer home to Kathmandu.
I don't know about Mount Everest, but I do want to, have a fit and healthy body.
Absolutely. So look at yourself. When you look in the mirror, then you will be one of those nice bodybuilding chicks. That is what it is. If that is what your BHAG is, so be it. Go ahead and pen it down.
Yes, thank you so much, Vanita.
It's like, when we are able to do this association, there's a huge energy that sets in automatically. Like she was saying, I used to be this, person who can't lift a 5 kg rice bag. Every time we go out and, when we have to buy provisions and all of it, I'll tell my husband, you pick up everything and climb up. So he'll be like, this is just 5 kgs. Can't you just lift this one? And I wouldn't be able to do it. But imagine my goal, which says transform 1 million lives, which means I have to train, which means I have to facilitate, which means I need to have a lot more energy within me to be able to do that. And then I went and enrolled myself into a fitness program. And I started in the first year, I could lift 58 kgs. And today, water can is 20 liters. Instead of asking him every time, I do it myself. So, that difference I was able to see personally for me also, Gunjan. So it's like, how do you associate it? And there is definitely things that will stop us because it's new, but how do we associate it and then break that pattern?
Okay, thank you so much, Abhirambika.
Thank you. Okay, so I hope, in this conversation, the rest of you've been here. So I'm just going to take you quickly to the next slide. So like I said, we always find reasons, which says, no, this is not possible, because there is a logical self which is always trying to protect us, right? That is how, like if I say, if there is a snake which comes into my room right now, even if it's not disturbing me, if it's going in one corner of my room, I would still get scared and I will try and do something to it, or probably call somebody to get it out of the room or whatever. That comes out of this protection for self, right? The fight, flight, or freeze, where we are constantly protecting ourselves from any danger. Now, when we think of a BHAG as well, or think of things that we want to achieve, we will always be in that protective mode. That's how human beings are, not just human beings, that's how animals, and that's one common thing between all of us, right? As beings in this world, we will have something to protect us. So we will always do things which is reachable, which is safe, which is, I wouldn't say comfort alone, but I would say which doesn't put us in a high risk or space of extreme situations, right? So now just come back and try and ask yourself these 3 questions that I've put here, okay, as step 1, 2, 3. Has this particular feeling or the negative feeling that you had about anything, whatever you've just written down, has this ever helped you or costed you? Or how often has this impacted your life? That's the first question I want you to ask yourself. The second question is this true really? Is this just coming from your mind, or is this really true? And can you be absolutely true that this is not doable? Okay. And what makes you believe this? So these are the 3 questions. Take your time to try and answer this for yourself, and then let me know, what did you find or what did you get? Happened last year for our company. We are into facilitation and training and coaching, which means coaching can still happen virtually, but there's a lot of programs that we do in person. So there are a lot of corporate programs which were obviously cancelled, and we still had to run our, our system. And quickly we moved into virtual. We started giving a lot of newer programs. We started moving everything virtually, and today we have a platform. In fact, like I said, we work with 2 segments. We also work with children, and there's a lot of programs, in-person programs we used to do for children. Now we changed our business model slightly to create some online space. So we have launched a product called MindPod for kids. So we do a lot of virtual programs on that. We have created and recorded programs on it. So it's become like a space on its own. So the thought of this is something, okay, there is COVID and that's it. There's few months that you can't do business. 2, how can I change it? How can I flip it? And because we are in the space of emotional, mental health and all of it, and especially in corporates, I have, in fact, before last year, so many times we've had these kind of programs not being looked up to. Mental health was not on priority in corporate spaces, whereas in personal spaces it was there. But whenever we want to do a program like that, corporate would say, can you give me something, a leadership program or something like this, where we push these people to show me performance and all of it. But trust me, last year alone we have done mindfulness for over 3,000 or 4,000 people across the globe, with so many different corporates. So the idea of there is something that's happening and there is a negative feeling about it which comes, and the moment you recognize it and say, is this going to cost me or help me? And then, is this really true? Can I not change this situation is the next question, right? And can you be absolutely true that you cannot do business in this COVID time? Then you start finding new ways, and then you change it, because is this a limiting belief or is it a supporting belief? That's what this whole activity kind of helps us to identify. If it's a limiting belief, how do I rephrase it? How do I change it? If it's a supporting belief, how do I work with it and grow with it, right? Yeah, so that's probably somewhere, I'm sure by now you're getting an idea of, is there anything that's limiting you itself? When we think of a BHAG, in fact, when you heard Vanita start with BHAG, there would be lots of thoughts to say, this is not possible by us. I couldn't, probably I can't have a BHAG because I have this kind of resources and this is where I am, or anything like that. But now look at all of what we are doing to see what is coming in my way. Is this just a thought? Is this just a belief that I carry? Can I change that belief to change the way I achieve, or to change the way I look at my goal itself? Any questions from anybody at this point, or do you want to move?
I have a question. Most of
Yes.
the examples of the BHAGs that you have shared are linked to a larger purpose where you are creating an impact on a lot of people. You're doing good, and there is that intent of impacting a large number of lives, right? does a BHAG always need to have a larger purpose associated with it? Often normal human beings have, even if they have a BHAG, it might be restricted to their own life, their own family. Would that even count as a BHAG?
See, personally, if you ask me, Sita, I would count that as a BHAG as well, right? If there is something, I am in say, a position A, and then I'm not going to look at, this into 100x, but even if I'm able to look at 10x or 20x to move forward in my personal life, have a big goal for my personal life alone is also BHAG in my mind, right? So it's like what to say. So like, because Vanita is sharing about financial goals, that is a BHAG personally for you, right? So it is definitely need not be something which is changing the mass. It can be something very, very personal to you also.
Because I was thinking, for me, the way I have always looked at it is, if I want to help someone, impact someone, I've never set a big goal for myself as such. But then ways somehow opened up, opportunities came up, and like, you end up helping one person, two people, something
Yeah.
like that. But and that gives you that satisfaction, that sense of creating value for someone, etc. But I've never amplified it to make it a BHAG goal for myself.
Perfect. So if you feel the need to do something, different or something. So usually, when I start a workshop, I run a workshop called the Real You. In that workshop, I first start with saying, if you are at 60 or 70 years old and then you look back at your life, what are some things that you want to see, right? What are some things that you want to feel very happy about or satisfied about? It need not be a financial goal. It could be a financial goal. It could be anything, but is it something that's going to bring a smile on your face to say, hey, I had an amazing 60 or 70, or are you going to regret something when you're of that age? That's it. That, according to me, itself is a BHAG personally, setting for myself.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I just want to move on. I think this has brought a lot of clarity over for us at this point. Yeah, so like I've done some part of neuroscience specifically because from a coaching perspective, it's extremely powerful and useful. So in that, this is a great model that we use where it's a 4-step process to identify what is this that's coming in my way, what is that thought or belief that I carry about myself that I want to change. So first is, how do I relabel that? Identify those thoughts and uncomfortable sensations or situations that I feel about this, and name them, like what Arvind said, right? Just name them as they are. The moment we start naming them, we know where we want to what we want to change and how we want to reframe this whole thought itself. And then the second one is, of course, reframe. So say why these thoughts and urges keep bothering you. So these are some messages from the brain, like how are these limiting beliefs formed is something that we've heard over the period of time, like from a childhood. Then that's why people are so different, right? A certain bring up or a certain setup or a certain thing that somebody has experienced, that goes very deeply into your brain, and that creates this whole belief system. Like when I said I can't lift 5 kg rice bag because I was never into sports, and I always, in my house, my parents were quite busy as a child, so I was brought up in a daycare in those days, where hardly daycares used to be there, where I was part of a daycare. So there was nothing much physical activity or anything. So my mother brought me up very fragile, that, these are not things that girls should do. These are things that only boys do, something like that. But when it came to me personally now, when I have to change that, it was a huge challenge because, going out to play, anything, just thought like, okay, now let me just sit back. But when the moment I connected to my purpose, I saw how it changed. And even the whole of last year, even though we couldn't go and do physical workout, I bought kettlebells for home and I'm doing virtual workouts. Look at the shift that I was able to see in myself. for someone who had absolute nothing to do with fitness to buying kettlebells and keeping at home and working even virtually is something that I have seen. So how do I reframe this? Is it just my brain telling me something? And is this really me that I want to change? So that's the reframe part of it. The refocus is direct all your attention and bring it there, because automatically you will go into that mode, do a conscious practice. And this is where mindfulness has been extremely helpful for me, being in the purpose or being in the moment of what I want to do. So refocus, direct your attention by using anything as a cue or any specific behavior or anything, and then revalue. So do not take these thoughts as face value, saying, oh, okay, this is not for me, this is not something that I can do. Just try and see, is there something that's beyond this thought that I'm missing out? And then you will be able to identify and change that for yourself. So this is a 4-step process. So very, very, very powerful, because you are creating newer patterns in your brain. You are also breaking the automation that's happened already. So a great example again for me is, how many of you drive here? Bike, car, anything? I'm sure most of you, but just give me a thumbs up.
You picked a sore spot for me. that is one of the BHAGs that I still have to take the courage to set as a goal also.
Okay, so that is also something, right? Which is you be on your own. Like I've always asked, my mother never used to drive even a 2-wheeler, and in those days, there was buses. Otherwise she has to ask my dad and all of it. And I used to always wonder, what's wrong with her? Why can't she just do things? Because every time she has to wait for my dad to drop her, pick her up, and no Ola, no, the facilities that we have today was never there, right? Even autos in those days were much lesser. But she said that's the only time I'll get with dad. Otherwise, I wouldn't. If I start doing driving, then look at her belief that stopped her from actually learning a 2-wheeler or a 4-wheeler. She said, that's the time when we bond. That's the time when we have conversations. So I would want him only to drop me. Okay. So I'm just bringing that up when you said it. And I drive 2-wheeler, but I never used to drive 4-wheeler. But I realized if I have to wait for Ola, whatever, I said I can't do it. So I went ahead and bought a car first. Okay. Then I learned to drive. And today I drive. I don't ask my husband. I don't wait for anybody. I just go and start meeting my clients on my own. So again, associated with my goal. You'll find ways, Sita.
Got it. Or
Just an
sometimes
idea.
you find alternatives also, no?
Yeah. My wife has found an alternative.
What is
She
it?
has a car, she drives it, but she'll never drive when I'm there.
Which I also do, because why should I why should I give that peace of mind to my husband, right? It's just
Yeah,
me.
it's like it's my dream that I go on a long drive with sitting on the side, not driving. But it's been 21 years.
You're a very brave man, Arvind.
Yeah, of course.
My
See,
husband, the moment I say I'm going to drive, he says, you know what? Please, I want to be feeling comfortable and not restless. So just allow me to drive. Don't put me in tension. So I'm so glad to hear one man who said that I want my wife to drive and I want to relax and enjoy. Yo, man, cool. Awesome.
my husband keeps saying that, Arvind, but I refuse, because that's the time, like, I
No,
it's
that's
the
what
most
she says.
irritating.
Yeah, that's what she says. Yeah. She can talk, she can put across all her things when I'm focusing on driving, no full
Yeah,
concentration. So it's easy for her.
so true, so true. So the point I brought, I mean, in fact, why did I even ask that question about driving is, when you first started to learn to drive, we had our complete attention and focus. Imagine somebody honking or a bus coming or some ambulance going on the opposite side. This side you would have gone and, not realizing from where it is coming. You will see all mirrors. You'll be like extremely attentive in the way you're driving, right? But once you've driven for, say, a few years, how do you drive now? What's the difference between then and now? Anyone?
You just ignore and drive.
You reach a stage of unconscious competence.
Absolutely. So you reach a stage of unconscious competence. So these beliefs also become like that. The moment there is something which has come up for you, and you believe in that for a period of time, then it becomes so automatic that you don't even realize. Because today when I drive, I mean, I can imagine 5 years back, the way I used to drive to now, I have a lot of calls scheduled. I eat sometimes breakfast and I drive. I put on the music. I do multiple things while I'm driving. But I know it's coming from an unconscious state of automatic, But the moment some change happens, or suddenly some guy comes in the middle, or something happens like that, then I'm coming back to the conscious, and then I'm like, okay, I forget what I was doing other than that, right? So similarly, whenever we think of a goal, whenever we think of a BHAG or anything that we want to change in our life, there is this automated process, which is why I've brought this 4-step model, because it's the automation that has already happened through our past experiences, through our learning, through our whatever we've gone through. And imagine flipping that automation needs conscious reframing, relabel, reframing, refocus, and revalue. Anybody has any questions or any thoughts that you want to share?
Okay. So we also realize it's pretty late, and in Nepal it's like 15 minutes ahead. So remember, this is a series. So you're always welcome. Every month we're going to do one session with different topics that's going to help you. We are going to share with you the BHAG worksheet with some examples. So what we will do is, in one sheet we will give you the visionary companies examples which I showed you, and many of you missed today. So you can go through this, and we are also planning to put this entire recording in the YouTube, so you can even watch it there to understand from the beginning. Do work on the worksheet and come back to us for any questions. We are happy to help you. And these are our contact details. So you can WhatsApp us with your details, or you can write into us. You can speak to us. We're there on literally all the social medias. And Abhi, being our guest speaker today, she also has her own organization. Maybe Abhi, you can leave your organization details in the chat. That would help them connect with you if you would like to. And very happy that you've taken time. And I know it's end of the day, it's so tiring for all of us. So a big sincere gratitude from our end. Don't forget to have your BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. Come on, this is the time to put all our energy into thinking something that we have never thought before, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, everyone, and have a great evening. And thank you for being here.